and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Special interest, an interest in workers, not corporations. What we are seeing here today in our state and in our country is not a black, white, red, yellow, brown, man, woman, Democrat, or Republican issue. It's a worker-citizen issue. Standing up for yourselves and others. We stand here together today as one, fighting in a never-ending battle to protect our civil rights. They are just as much in jeopardy today as they were 50 years ago. Dr. King lost his physical life while helping sanitation workers in their plight for job security and benefits. His spirit lives on forever, and his earthly task left for each of us here to carry on for him. Jim Crow laws in North Carolina have to go. State employees, educators should have the moral, ethical, civil right to organize and bargain if they so choose. Health care reform, the Affordable Care Act, is the right thing to do. We stand, we fight, we claw, not only for ourselves, but for our children.
And it's an opportunity to stand up for what you believe. And we have folks who have been participating in Moral Mondays, and we'd like to ask those folks who are, we call them arrestees, but they're also known as moral witnesses. We'd like them to come up on stage and want you to see what they've been doing. These folks are fighting for you. and sheroes behind me who have been participating in civil disobedience have been working on that message that we've been talking to you about. Forward together, not one step back. Well,
Hello, Jackson County. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Forward together.
Not one step back.
We always do it 3 times. Forward together.
Not one step back.
I wanted to do that for so long. When Reverend Barber had us gathered together in training sessions before we entered the State House, he asked us to serve as moral witnesses to this movement. And at the time, I just thought he wanted us to behave. But as I watched this movement grow from 17 arrestees and 40 people in the audience on April 29th to almost 1,000 moral witnesses and thousands of people on the mall, just 3 months later, I got a new understanding of what a moral witness is. Quite simply, we're just people who got sick and tired of watching and talking. A moral witness is someone who steps up to the plate and affirms her beliefs by taking responsibility and by taking action. A moral witness speaks truth to power, speaks truth to power again, and speaks truth to power still again. Sometimes a moral witness might choose to bear testimony to her beliefs by engaging in civil disobedience. And I am so grateful I live in a country, in a democracy, where we can engage in civil disobedience.
50 years ago, a large group of people marched in Washington, D.C. and heard MLK do his I Have a Dream speech. But there was somebody else on the stage that day who was also on the stage today. So 50 years ago and again today, only one person that was still alive, and that was John Lewis. John Lewis was 23 years old. He was the youngest person to speak that day. John Lewis, at that age of 23, had already been arrested 40 times. He had been beaten viciously any number of times. When he first wrote his speech and other people read it, they vetted it by saying, "You're being very confrontational. I'm not sure that serves the movement." So he thought better of it and he toned it down. But he had put his life on the line for the cause of racial justice and a better community for all of us. We had leaders who sacrificed over and over again for freedom in this land of the free. They stood on the shoulders of Rosa Parks and Medgar Evans, and so many more from the civil rights movement. And now, for the last little bit, since last February, we have been standing with each other, with William Barber and friends of the North Carolina NAACP. Do you know how this, I don't know if you know how this started or not, these Moral Mondays, but in February at the HK on J, which is a walk that they have every February in Raleigh, a group of people, including William Barber, asked to speak to Governor McCrory and the other leaders of the Republican Party. And those leaders refused to talk with them. They made that request over and over again, and each time they have been refused, still to this day. That's why Moral Mondays began. 13 weeks in a row, people from across the state coming together saying, we must have our voice heard. I am stunned. I am stunned to live in this country today and realize that our leaders will not talk to us. And we have to ask, why is that so? We have to ask, do these leaders care about the common good, or is it only their own bottom line? Is every vote that they make about something they think, will this help me get reelected? Or do we still have leaders who vote their conscience to do what is right for the people? And it's not about Republicans and Democrats. We have to be honest. Both sides have played political games.